We welcome you back to our National Signing Day show presented to you by Opportune. We've been in the south end zone of Kyle Field all morning right here in 12th Man Studios, and we're going to close it out at the top. We are joined by our head coach, Mike Elko, on this signing day. The Aggies signing class of 2025, and 24 of them joined the program. And we've talked to a lot of folks about the long process just to get here. What an incredible job by your staff. I know it's got to be an exciting day for not just you guys, those 24 young men who decided to sign the paper and become Aggies today.
Yeah, I think it's a really special day for kids all over the country. I think when you think about what signing day is, it's a ceremony of so much hard work for high school kids who went into high school with a dream of becoming a college football player, and today's the day they put pen to paper and make that a reality. And so I think across the board, it's just a celebration day for so many families and so many people.
And just your thoughts on this. I mean, some guys can sign late. You get some in right away. Jerome Miles signed today, another one in there too. But you never really quit recruiting a kid. Maybe they commit somewhere else, but the process never stops. And that's why I don't know if you really call them a signing day surprise. They might be a late add to the class, but not really a surprise because you guys never give up on a kid, whether it could be a year ago they said they're going somewhere else, but it always, you stay engaged.
Yeah, no, it's a relationship business. And in this day and age, with so much fluidity of roster, it's even more so a relationship business. And so you identify kids that you think fit your program, football player, person, family, all of those things. And when you find someone that you're aligned with and you think fits what you're looking for, you build a relationship. And regardless of commitment status or all of that stuff, I think that relationship continues, and you try to build it as strong as you can. And sometimes ultimately you're able to get the job done closer to signing day and make them an Aggie.
And we'll hit a few guys and some of the position units right here in just a second, but your overall thoughts on the 24 that became Aggies today. Really good class that's going to help your program.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it's an outstanding class. I think you mentioned there's so many thank yous that need to go out there. You know, I think like a lot of things in this program, they put me on the head of it. But, you know, from our general manager, Derek Miller, to the recruiting staff, to the staff, to all the people in and around this program that help with recruiting, it's a long journey. And I think at the end of it, we put together an elite class and a class that's going to help us win a national championship here in College Station. And I think the things that jump out to me, one, it's Texas-based, which we want to be. Right, 15 out of the 24 kids are from the state of Texas. I think 7 of them are still playing. Yeah. With the possibility of having a state championship. I think finding winners and kids who are successful and coming from successful programs mattered to us as we try to build this culture. And then I think what we were able to do outside the state of Texas, going from California to Florida, to supplement the class, which we've always talked about is a necessity for us to be the program we want to be. We're going to have a national scope and be able to step outside the state and supplement the class in some pretty good ways.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the cooler things about this signing period, moved up just a little bit. Usually it's right before Christmas, but you get to talk about some of those kids fighting for state championships, and some are doing it right here in Texas, over in Arizona and Florida. I'll hit on some of them, and I'll start in Florida. Everybody asks about quarterbacks, and Brady Hart is a state champion, and he goes for back-to-back state titles now. He's in the semis on Friday night, but your take on Brady Hart as he comes to the program behind center at the quarterback position?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's an elite thrower. You know, obviously we were forced to pivot late in the process, and I think a lot of things lined up for us to settle on a kid, or not settle, come back to a kid who we wanted really bad in the beginning of the process. And so I think everything kind of worked itself out the right way. We were able to get him in here, and he's completed just under 68% of his passes for about 7,000 yards in his high school career. And he's got 1 state championship and hopeful to go get another one.
Yeah, semis on Friday night for Brady Hart and Cocoa, Florida, over there in the playoffs. DeSoto, they're going for another state title. Tiger riding. I just thought he jumps off the page at you, or the tape at you when you watch highlights on him, and he's really carrying a load right now for DeSoto in these Texas high school playoffs. And when you do that in this bracket, and against the district he plays against, man, that's a special player in Tiger Ryden that'll come to A&M.
Yeah, and I think when you look through that I-20 corridor, there's so many talented players through there, a lot of elite football players that have gone on and had phenomenal college careers, and we certainly think Tiger's going to be another one. And there's two superlatives on him that just jump off the page, and one is I think he set the DeSoto rushing record for the high school, which that's not an easy task given the amount of talent that has come through that program over the years, and then he's a finalist for the Mr. Texas Player of the Year, right? And those two things in and of themselves tell you the kind of player we're getting, and we think he's an every down back. He's got the power to run in the SEC, which is something that's really important, and he was a kid that really got on board early and was very influential in other people kind of becoming part of this class, and so we appreciate how he went through this process with us.
Not the only running back. You go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
The Tigers joined by Jamarian in this class, and another good back.
Yeah, and getting Jamarian we thought was really, really important, and he's a kid who's done so much. He's played so many positions. He's played quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive back. He's really a skilled athlete. And we think the versatility he's going to have in the backfield, not only carrying the ball, which he does really well, he's elite with the ball in his hands, but to be able to get him out in space, to be a route running guy, to utilize him in different ways. He was a kid we really coveted early, kind of went all in on, and another one that maybe chose a different place, and ultimately the relationship won out, and we were able to get him back in the fold with us.
Talked to Holman about the wide receivers very early in this show, but can still remember it. I felt like he mentioned stretching the field with all three wide receivers you have in this class.
Yeah, all three of them are track kids. All three of them can flat run. Obviously the need to put speed on the field and be able to stretch the defense is something that we wanted to go out and address in this recruiting class. And it starts with Kelshawn Johnson, who's an elite 100-meter kid, an extremely dynamic athlete, starter on a state championship basketball team, and then we were able to get TK in the boat, and TK is an extremely twitchy kid, phenomenal with the balls in his hands, and he's one of those receivers. We talk a lot about like kids that can put their foot in the ground and create immediate separation, and those are the ones that defensive backs are always afraid of, because that kid that can put a foot in the ground and suddenly separate are really impressive. And then we were able to add Jerome late in the process, and there's a 6'2", 210-pound kid who set the 100-meter record in the state of Utah, a record that's been in place for 43 years, right? And so I think you're adding a lot of talent, a lot of twitch, and a lot of speed to that wide receiver room.
We had to allot quite a bit of time for Adam Cushing today.
The heartblood of our program.
There you go. And 6 of them on the offensive line. And he mentioned, can you have enough depth on the offensive line as far as you had some good young ones?
Yeah.
Your starting 5 was good, but you play 6, 7, and then these high school kids, 6 of them coming in.
Yeah.
Creation of depth at a very important position.
Yeah, we felt like obviously retooling that position was critical. We felt like we hit a lot of really good ones in the freshman class that we have on campus right now, and I think those kids will continue to develop and grow and become names that people are very familiar with here in Aggie land. And then, but we felt like we really wanted to make sure in this first class that we built some quality bodies into the offensive line room, and I think we were able to do that. And a lot of these kids were kids that we really targeted day one. We felt like it was a really strong high school class in Texas this year on the O-line. When those things create themselves, you want to make sure you take advantage of it, and I think we were able to do that.
Stay in the trenches, but go to the other side of the ball. There's 4 more on the defensive line, so 6 on the offensive line, 4 on the defensive line. Trenches, they matter so much in the Southeastern Conference. So 10 of the 24 along the fronts, but man, that haul on the defensive line, 4 of them, a lot of quality right there.
No, for sure, and similar, right? Like that's the position that you can never be short on, and they're hard to find, they're hard to develop, and you got to make sure that you have your pipeline stocked at all times for defensive linemen. And I think we were able to go out and get the 3 most coveted defensive linemen, not only in the state of Texas for sure, but also across the country, and add them to our program. I think all 3 of the inside kids are going to add tremendous depth, Landon, DJ, and Chase. And then we were able to go out to California and get an elite edge kid. I mean, Marco, when you look at his stats and what he's been able to do on the football field, it's unbelievably impressive. And so I think he's going to be an instant impact edge guy for us.
When you think about behind those guys on the front, linebackers, defensive backs, and if you total it all up, I said this to Coach Bateman, 9 of them are ESPN top 200 guys nationally. Now, I don't know how much you dig into rankings with all this, but it just seems like proof you really loaded up with talent on that side of the ball, just every level.
Yeah,
all
no, and I think obviously, you know, we want to be elite on defense. Everybody's aware of that, and that's something that's really strong here in Aggie Land and the Wrecking Crew, and making sure that we're playing to the standard that Texas A&M wants us to play to. We felt like we needed to go out and sign a defense. You know, we basically, that was our goal, was to go sign 11 kids that could formulate a championship level defense, and I think we were able to do that. I think we went out and we signed at each level of the defense elite talent. I think we found kids who could really, really run in the back end. You know, and I think we're going to be really excited about this group as they grow through here, their time here in College Station.
We talked to some of your staff today in the recruiting office, and just keeping everything organized in today's college football. I mean, the sizable task that it is. And
Yeah.
Derek and Kayla and Kiana and everybody in the Bright Slocum building with you. I mean, it takes everybody to just get a grasp of the moving parts to college football today when it comes to that so-called talent acquisition, recruiting, and then there's portals now and everything that goes into it.
It used to take a village, now it takes an army, you know, and that's just the reality of it. And there's so many moving parts and moving pieces always in you know, as you go through this thing. And I think Derek's done a phenomenal job of organizing his team and managing his team, and that team has really bought into making this an absolute first-class experience for recruits when they come on campus. I think that what we're doing from a scouting and an evaluation standpoint is at an elite level. I think everybody who comes through here feels a real genuineness about the relationships that we're building with people, and then all of that starts with that team and that crew. And so I think it's a huge undertaking when you think about what it is, not only to put together a class, but then you go through the season and you got these big game day visits and, you know, 150 plus recruits, and how you make sure everyone feels special and everyone feels taken care of. Those aren't easy tasks, and that crew does an unbelievable job with that.
All right, before you go, South Brunswick High School, New Jersey, right around 1995. Did you have a big ceremony, maybe in the gym, to sign with the Penn quick?
I don't even think anybody in the school knew I was going to Penn to play football. I think it was about as under a radar moment as you could ever imagine. I think I actually saw a picture. They put the Dallas Morning News article out there, and there was a picture of, I think, my signing day ceremony. It was me, my mom, and my dad underneath a sign that said, "What's a Quaker?" I think that's kind of how it went down for me. So yeah, the times have changed. There's a little bit more hub around today and a little bit more publicity, and yeah, it's good for these kids. They deserve it. They've worked really hard.
Yeah, special day for these young men. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to you and your staff as 24 new Aggies join us now.
Yeah, thanks, Will. Appreciate it.